Hello everyone, welcome to this amazing video on my YouTube channel. So in this video, I'm going to speak on how you can become a successful civil engineer, how you are supposed to plan your career, what are the different career that you need to choose according to experience. So whenever you're a fresh graduate or just let us say you just finished your engineering or you finished your diploma, so I always recommend that you should work as a site engineer because site engineer is that particular job which will actually help you to understand how exactly the execution is to be done, right? So only if you become a site engineer and you work for one or two, at least for a 2 year, and then you can choose the other field, which I'm going to explain now. So site engineer is the first role that every civil engineer should be choosing so that you get to understand how exactly the execution is to be done. So I always recommend that you work as a site engineer for at least 2 years. Okay, because if any project has to be finished right from the start to the end, from the site clears to the handing over, you require at least 1.5 years. If it's a high-rise building and all, it will take you 3-4 years. But if it is a normal house construction, also at least 1 year is required. Depends on how much big area you're going to do. But I would say at least 1.5 years is required for you to understand everything right from the zero till the finishing of that particular building. So once you finish that job, let us say you worked as a site engineer for 2 years. After that, you have three different options where you can upgrade yourself or you can go to the other field. The next job is you can become a quantity surveyor or you can try to become a billing engineer because quantity surveying is more about estimation work and all, right? So it's a office job also. And then after that, in most of the companies, in few of the companies, quantity survey will be doing even the billing work also, right? Otherwise, we have a separate department called as billing engineer department. Yeah. So later, after 2 years of experience, you can become a QS or you can become billing engineer. Or you can choose one more field, which is called as QA/QC engineer. QA stand for quality assurance and QC stand for quality control, right? So it's like after the site engineer job, you can become a QA/QC engineer where 50% of your work will be on the site to do the material testing and all. Let us say you brought a cement. Directly, we are not going to use it. We'll do a finesse test on that. We'll do we have to check the specific gravity of the cement. The same with the coarse aggregate. Let us say you brought the rebar on the site. You need to check what is the tensile strength of that. You should check the bend and rebend test of that. You should check the carbon content in that. So all these things will be taken care by the quality control engineer. Yes, there is one more field which is called as planning engineer. So again, directly you cannot become a planning engineer. First, you should have a site execution knowledge. So when you work on the site, you get to know what all things are supposed to be done. First, we'll start with the PCC, let us say, okay. Then we'll do with the shuttering work. Then we have reinforcement work. I mean, we have reinforcement. After that, we have shuttering work. We do the concrete. These are the sequence of construction. Only when you know that, only then you can become a planning engineer. Again, for you to become a planning engineer, you should have a good grip of site execution. You should know basic MS Excel software. You should know MS Project software, at least in India. If you are looking for a job abroad, in the Middle East and all, then if you know Primavera, it's well and good. Again, knowing MS Project and Primavera you will not become a planning engineer. For that, your fundamentals should be strong. You should have a lot of understanding about the project. Only then with the help of the tool like MSP and Primavera, you can use it. But by learning MSP and Primavera, you don't become a planning engineer, right? Yeah. And the last one is that assistant manager, senior site manager, then you become project manager. All this thing will take time. So the best part is that you work here for the 2 year. Okay. Once you work for 2 year, then you can look for this job or you can get into this job or you can get into this job. But again, when you get into this job, you'll work for at least 3 to 5 years. Okay. Then same here, you'll work for at least 3 to 5 years. You will work at least 3 to 5 years. I would say at least 5 years, I would say. Forget about the three year. Or yeah, let me keep 3 year, not an issue. So let us say 5 years is a maximum time I'm telling. So you work here you work here for 5 years, then you have 2 year site experience. Almost you have 7 to 8 year experience. Only then you can become like a manager. Okay, you can become a assistant site manager. You can become a site manager. You can become a senior site manager. Then the project manager. But yeah, by the time you reach to this position, you should have minimum 10 year experience. Below 10 year experience, it's difficult for you to handle the projects because for a project manager, he should be knowing the site execution. He should be knowing about the building. He should be knowing about the QS. He should be knowing about the planning. Only then he can take control of the entire project, right? So that is why by the time you reach this position, you require at least 10 year experience so that you can handle the project, right? So this was one part where you can upgrade yourself. You work as a site engineer, then you shift your career towards all these different field we have. Let us say you don't want to get into this field. So tell us something different. So in that case, you can try for a structural engineer job. Like you worked as a site engineer for 2 years, then you can become a structural engineer. Again, most of the companies in India, at least let us say 60 to 70% of the company, they want MTech in structures. But if you're working for a small consultant and all, with BTech, they are okay with BTech degree also. But again, if you want to become a structural engineer, you should have good fundamentals in structure analysis, strength of materials, RCC, then your fundamentals in steel structure. This should be good. Along with that, you should know ETABS, SAFE, RCDC, and STADPRO software, and RCDC software, and MS Excel. If you know, it's well and good. Again, knowing the software will not make you a structural engineer. Your fundamentals should be strong. Like I mentioned about the subjects, those understanding should be good, because software will not do anything for you. Suppose if I want to construct a G+1 story building, software will not tell that you have to take this particular size of the column. No, software will never tell that. I need to decide. How do I decide that? Certain fundamentals I should be having. I should know certain thumb rules. How do I decide the beam thickness, dimensions of the column, thickness of the slab? Only then I can take the help of the software like ETABS and STADPRO and do the analysis also. Again, you have to do the design, then you have to do the detailing. Again, software will never do the detailing. You have to do the detailing. So again, a lot of things you need to understand. So you can get into another field which is called a structural engineer job. After becoming a structural engineer, let us say you work for 3 to 4 years in a big company, or maybe you work under someone for 2 to 3 years. So once you feel that you're confident, then you can start up with your own consultancy also, where you can give the structural designs and all. Okay, that is another way where you can upgrade yourself. Next is freelancing. Again, freelancing in the sense, let us say you're working in some company. So anyhow, you're working there. So maybe in your free time, you can take some freelancing projects where you can do the design of those. From there also, you can start to earn the money. So freelancing is another way where you can start earning the money also. Along with that, in this field also, you can become a freelancer. Like if you're a QS engineer, quantity surveyor. So usually if somebody is constructing a G+1 or a G+2 story building, and they want to know what is the cost of that building. So being a quantity surveyor, you can take those as a freelancing projects, and you can charge all those things. So being a QS also, it will help you to do a freelancing work. But billing engineering, it's difficult for you to get a freelancing work, because billing you usually do for the bigger projects. For small G+1, G+3, G+4 structure, you don't require a billing engineer and all. No, normal engineer can take care of all those things. Then even if you're a planning engineer, again, when you're a planning engineer for at least, let us say 6 to 8 years of experience, then you can take a freelancing project also, right? So that is how it is. So you can make use of this freelancing opportunity, and from you can have another source of income from freelancing also. Then let us say you don't want to get into this field also. So next option what we have is to work under an architect, or to work as an interior designer. So for that, you should be good in AutoCAD, you should know Revit, you should know Google SketchUp, you should know 3ds Max, and then Lumion and V-Ray are the rendering software. Again, when I say you should know AutoCAD, doesn't mean that you should know how to operate the AutoCAD. Like I mentioned in my previous video, a lot of training institutes nowadays, where they are giving 10 to 12 courses, making a bundle of courses, and they're telling we are giving it for 2,000 and 3,000 rupees. But at the end of the day, what they teach is just the commands they're going to teach you, which will not help you to become a proficient engineer. When I say AutoCAD, you should know how to prepare plans, section elevation, building bylaws, you should be knowing. So these are the things what you should be good at. When I say Revit, you should know to do a residential project, you should know to do a commercial project. Only then you are proficient in that software. Just by learning some tools and all, doing a small 1 or 2 BHK house, it's difficult for you to get a job in a construction company. You should have a good portfolio with you. Got it? So if you know all these things in a more better way, right, then you can work under an architect, or you can even become an interior designer also, where you have a good scope also. Yeah. Apart from that, again, freelancing work. Yeah. So if you're very good in AutoCAD, if you can do a planning of a house and all. So usually there are many people, those who pay you like 1,000 rupees, 1,500, 2,000 rupees just for 2 BHK house plan and all. So you can get a freelancing project. There are a lot of websites like Fiverr and Upwork, where you get a lot of freelancing projects. So if you have good connections with those people and all, right, you can easily earn money from the freelancing also. So now I explained you most of the things. We have only 3 sectors. One is this part, execution part. We have design part. Then we have this the planning part and all. But how do you plan it, right? Now it's not that one fine day you realized that I'm working as a site engineer, I need to come out of it. So the moment you come out of it, it's not that on the very next day you're going to get a job, because you don't have a required skill. To become a QS, you should know how to do the estimation. You should know how to make use of Excel sheets and all. To become a structural engineer, you should have good fundamentals in the subjects. You should have software knowledge. To become a planning engineer, you should have a Primavera knowledge. You should have a MS project knowledge. You should have Excel. So how do you inculcate all those knowledge? So for that, one thing is that you have to plan here itself. When I say plan here itself, let us say you're working as a site engineer. So once you work for 5 to 6 months, you understand what is your level of work you're doing, and you understand whether there is a future or whether you really like that particular field or not. So after 6 months, you can come to a conclusion that, okay, if you're good in that field, you can continue with that. If not, then you can think in which field you're supposed to go. Let us say you decided that I want to become a structural engineer. Okay, you decided after 6 to 7 months that you have an inclination of becoming a structural engineer. So right from the 6 month onwards, after you finish your 6 months as a site engineer, you have to try to enroll in certain good courses, not the courses that you get in the market nowadays, where they just teach you one small ETABS software and tell that you can become a structural engineer. You cannot do that. So let us say you enrolled in one of the course, okay, where you're learning ETABS, SAFE, RCDC, 𝗏𝗏. These are the softwares we should know. And you have to try to do own projects on that. One project will not help you. You should at least work on 3 to 5 projects, maybe a G+1 residential building, one commercial building, and one industrial building. You try to understand all those things. So in this next 1.5 year, you will have at least 3 to 5 own projects of your own, okay, where you have worked on the live projects. So once you work on the live projects, you get experience. Yeah. Then what you can do after 2 years of your site execution job, you can leave this job. And then you can apply for the job of a structural engineer, because already you have 3 to 5 projects which you have done. So you have a confidence on the subject. Yes, you can go and work, right? In the same way, let us say after 6 months, you decided, no, I want to become a planning engineer. You're working on the site, but after 2 years, I mean, by the end of 6 months, you decided, okay, I've seen a planning engineer, they're earning pretty good, and I want to become a planning engineer. Good. So once you decide, the first is you should be good in MS Excel. Okay. So after MS Excel, you should know MS Project. After MS Project, you should know Primavera. But MS Project is sufficient for Indian condition. If you're going for abroad and all, Primavera is good. But again, when I say you should learn, only the software will not help you. So you should choose a person who is very good, who is a master in all these softwares, who is working as a planning engineer. So you have to enroll under him, or you have to take coaching from him. And then you should work on at least 3 to 5 live projects. Okay. Maybe you take a small G+1 story building, you do a planning of that. And then you go for some residential building, you go for an industrial building, right? So you're supposed to work on at least 3 to 5 projects so that you have a portfolio with you. And one fine day when you leave this particular job, and when you're applying for a job of a planning engineer, definitely you'll have that much confidence that already you've worked on 3 to 5 live projects. You have that much confidence and you can go and clear the interview. Because if you don't work on such projects, if you work on only one small project and say, I know Primavera, I know MS project, definitely will not get a job as a planning engineer, because there are hundreds of people applying for the same job. So they are also skilled like you, right? So that is why you should have good exposure on these subjects. So that is why you have to train yourself. You have to take a training. Directly you cannot become planning engineer. You have to take a training from someone. You have to pay money. Okay, free you are not going to get anything in this world. You have to pay some money. You have to take it from the good person who is working as a planning engineer. You spend money, you upgrade yourself, because tomorrow the same money will help you to become a good and a proficient civil engineer or a proficient planning engineer. So if you say that I don't want to spend money, then obviously nothing is going to happen. You'll stick to your own job. Okay, so that is how you're supposed to plan, right? Yeah. Now the next question that comes to your mind is, there's one more thing which you need to understand, is that about money planning you're supposed to do. What is money planning? See, let us say 2 years you work as a site engineer. One fine day you decided that I will leave a job. And you, in that 2 years, you also worked on you wanted to become a planning engineer. You learned Primavera, you learned MS project, and you worked on 3 to 5 projects. So you're confident enough to go and work as a planning engineer. But the moment you leave a job, it's not that on the very next day you're going to get a job as a planning engineer, no, right? You have to at least wait for 1.5 months, because there should be vacancy also, right? But you have to take one small calculated risk. So usually what you're supposed to do, you have to do a money planning, which is called as SIP, that is called a systematic investment planning. Let us say I'm taking a worst condition, you're working as a site engineer, and let us say you're earning 15,000 rupees per month. It's a worst condition I've taken. 15,000 rupees you're earning per month. Okay. Now, each month from your salary, 1,000 rupees you need to keep set aside. You put that into a different account, and you're not going to use it. So if you're working for 2 years as a site engineer, per month, if you're taking 1,000 rupees, if you're saving 1,000 rupees, for the next 24 months, you'll be having an amount of 24,000 rupees with you, right? Isn't? So if you're saving 1,000 rupees per month, you'll be having 24,000 rupees with the help with you by the end of 2 years. And one fine day, you decided that I don't want to work as a site engineer. I'm done with this job. I want to become a planning engineer. I have a good skill and I can definitely get a job. So the moment you leave this job, on the very next day, you're not going to get a job. So you may go to some place or you may stay somewhere. You require a PG, right? A paying guest, or maybe you have done a room or something. You need to feed yourself. That means you need at least money for the next 1 to 2 months so that you can run your life, isn't it? So this 24,000 rupees will help you to at least spend the next 1 to 2 months so you can support yourself. And in that 2 months, you'll get a job as a planning engineer, because it hardly 1 or 2 months is required for you to get a new job, right? Very simple. So in that 1 to 2 months, you should have some money with you, so that you can take care of your room rent, your food and all. So this money, what you have saved, isn't it? This is going to help you to take care of that 2 months gap, whatever you're having, because you're not getting salary now. You already left the job, right? So this is how you're supposed to plan. Suppose if you don't plan it like this, and one fine day, if you decide that I want to leave a job, definitely not be having a money with you, because we usually don't save it, right? We say already I'm earning 15,000 rupees. What I can save with that? So that is not how the saving should be done. It doesn't matter how much money you're earning. It's about how much money you're going to save. So if you save 1,000 rupees per month, by the end of 2 years, 24,000 is enough for you to fetch at least 2 to 3 months. Even though you not get a job in first month, in the second month, definitely you'll get a job. But this 24,000 will help you to lead a good life, maybe stay in a PG or take care of yourself. So this is how you're supposed to do it. Okay. Yeah. Another thing is that, which I recently, what I've seen is that you can even try your luck in the real estate. So what is this real estate? See, today a lot of high-rise building constructions are going on. So what is the cost of a 3 BHK flat in Bangalore? Mumbai is too expensive. Mumbai, it has gone to almost 3 CR and all. But in Bangalore, if you wanted to, I'll say if you want a 2 BHK house from a good company, Prestige and all, you need to spend at least 1.5 CR. Minimum 1.5 CR is required. And if it is a 3 BHK and all, you require at least 2 CR money. At least 2 crore is required. And if you go to Mumbai and all, a 2 BHK will cost you, I think, at least 2 to 3 CR. And 3 BHK will cost you at least, 3 to 4 CR in the Mumbai. Depends on which place you want to buy it. Now, when you work as a real estate, real estate, what you do, you get list of all the upcoming buildings, and you get list of all the clients those are looking for such houses. So you can speak to them. And even if you're able to manage, if you manage to sell at least one flat, let us say you manage to sell one flat of 2 CR, at least you can earn 3 to 4 lakh rupees a commission from here. 3 to 4 lakh rupees is a commission that you can earn. Yeah, it will take time. It's not easy. 3 to 4 lakh rupees, you may feel happy, okay, I'll earn 3 to 4 lakh rupees. But a lot of things has to be done because Sunday, anyhow, you'll be free. So Sunday, what you can do, you can have a visit, because there are certain companies nowadays where they give the client number. You just have to call them and speak. Like this is a place where we have a upcoming building. And if you're interested, I can schedule a visit for that. And you being an engineer, at least have a basic understanding. What is 2 BHK? What is 3 BHK? Okay. What is a built-up area? What is super built-up area? What is carpet area? And you just have to explain them about the entire project, which you as a civil engineer are already doing that. So on the Sunday, if you're able to do this work, at least you take 1 or 2 clients, you give them a site visit. This usually happens in a big cities like Mumbai, Bangalore and all, where a lot of high-rise buildings are happening. So even if you devote 1 day of yours here, and at least in the next 2 to 3 months, even if you're able to sell one flat, you can easily earn 3 to 4 lakh rupees. 3 to 4 lakh rupees will not be one salary for the entire year. But if you work for 2 to 3 months, and if you can capture or if you can handle one client and able to sell one flat, you can easily earn 3 to 4 lakh rupees. Why I'm telling you to do this? Because today in the real estate, a lot of people, those are 10th pass, 11th, those are BCom and all, they are doing all these jobs. But being a civil engineer, when we are already in the construction industry, already when we know the entire project, we know how the construction is done, why as a civil engineer, we will not get into this field, right? Right? So already technically we are good. We know about the project. So being a civil engineer, I feel that if you get into this particular job, okay, even if you're able to sell one flat in the next 3 to 4 months, you can easily earn 3 to 4 lakh rupees. So this way you can even think of taking this as another part-time job or part-time income, so that no, it will help you. So this way you can plan your future. I would say this will initially say 3 to 4 lakh rupees will you may feel happy. Okay, I'm earning 3 to 4 lakh rupees in the next 3 to 4 months, but it's not that easy, because selling a flat will take you a lot of efforts. You need to visit the client. I mean, your client has to come. You need to go and speak to him. A lot of things are supposed to be done. Yeah, once you do that, you get used to that. Then it's not a problem. Yeah, the first step is always the difficult step. So once you start to get into this field, no, even you can earn money from here also. So that is the other thing what you can think of, right? So this was the entire master plan what I explained. Now, what is the problem with us? The problem with us is that whenever we are working right on the site, see, what we need to understand, we need to understand each and everything. For example, let us say you're working on a G+3 story building. So what we do, we don't think too much about that project. Like, okay, what is a column size? Okay, it's a 9 inch by 12 inch or a 9 inch by 15 inch column. Today you're working on a G+3 story building. Tomorrow you're working on another project which is a G+5 story building. So what is the column size there? What is the beam size? You have to get an idea. In G+3 we had used a 9 inch by 15 inch, 9 inch by 18 inch. In G+5, what is the size of the column that I'm using? So you note down all those things, because tomorrow it's going to help you. These are kind of a thumb rule for you. In the same way, if you're working as a site engineer, you should have your own thumb rule. That is, suppose if there is a beam is getting casted, and if the size of the beam is, let us say, 300 by 500 is the depth of the beam. See how much amount of concrete is going into that, right? So what we do is we take the quantity of the entire slab, the beam and all. But in one particular beam, how much amount of concrete is going? We need to keep an eye on that. So that what happens, it will become a thumb rule. So tomorrow, if somebody asks you how much concrete, suppose, let us say you're a civil engineer, you went somewhere and somebody asked you that tomorrow we are planning to do the concreting of this slab. Can you tell me how much amount of concrete we require? So being a civil engineer, you should know. So you have certain thumb rule now for one small beam, which is having a 4 meter length, whose width is 300 by 550, 500. This is the amount of concrete which goes into that. So keeping that as a base, you can just give a thumb rule, or you can give a raw idea at how much approximate quantity you can give, right? So these are the things that we should be knowing. Next is productivity. So what is productivity? Suppose if I put one mason and one helper, how much amount of block work he can do in one particular day? In one day, it's 8 hours what we count. So one mason and one helper can do 125 number of block work in a single day, up to a height of 2.5 meters. So these are the productivity which will happen on the site. We should keep an eye on all those things. Then again, next is we should know what are the material rate. If I bring 1 ton of steel or a rebar, what is the cost going on in the market? What is the rate of 1 bag of cement? So these are the things which we should be knowing when we are working on the site. But what we usually do, what I did also is, we go to the site in the morning, we come back in the evening, and we deploy 1 or 2 labor in the morning, and we just finish the work by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or maybe at the night, even 10, 11 p.m. But we don't think on all these things, right? What is the amount of concrete that went into that? What was the reinforcement quantity went into that? What is the rate of the material? So if you try to think in these directions, right, what will happen tomorrow? If you become a planning engineer, you should know what is the productivity. If you don't know the productivity, you cannot become a planning engineer, because a planning engineer job is to know how the productivity is calculated and all. Suppose another thing, suppose if you don't know what is the rate going on in the market for the steel, for the cement and all, for the sand, and if you don't have your own thumb rule, you cannot become a good QS, because a quantity surveyor should know all these things, right? So these are the things which you need to build when you're working on a site as a site engineer. But unfortunately, what is happening, we don't think in this direction. We just go to the site in the morning and we come back. So then we blame we are not learning anything new, because no one is there to teach you on the site. You need to develop all these skills. And once you develop all these skills only, in the next 2 years, when you go for the job like QA/QC, you become a QS engineer, you become a planning engineer. These are the things which is going to help you, right? Yeah, I'll show you one productivity chart also. Yeah, so this is a productivity chart what I have. For example, like I mentioned, if you can see it here. Yeah. See, if I can do a solid block work up to a height of 2.5 meter, I require one mason and two helper. They can do 125 numbers per day. So in this way, if I want to do a ceiling plaster, in one day, one mason and one helper can do 8 square meter per day. So these are the thumb rules, or these are the productivity which we'll be having when you work on the site, when you work on multiple projects. No, we'll have a data with you. So once you have all this data only, it will help you tomorrow when you become a planning engineer. So if you want this particular data, you download my Civil Brains app. So my Civil Brains app is available, and there I am going to give you this particular PDF. You have to ask me there, I'll give it. You understood the concept? So this was all about the master plan that you need to adopt to become a proficient civil engineer. So if you don't adopt such things, then what will happen later? After 3 to 4, or maybe you worked on the site for 3 to 5 years, and later you realize that you wanted to get into all this job, but you don't have proper skills with you. Then later you blame that there is no salary and all. So that is not the problem. The problem is that we need to plan accordingly so that it will help us to become a proficient engineer, and we can go in this particular direction. We can become a planning engineer and all. We should have proper skills to that. Just in case if you're interested to learn all these things in a more better way, I have a certain courses with me. So these are the courses what is available in my Civil Brains app. This is one course what I have by the name Construction Manager Mastery. Okay, so where I'm going to teach you the complete execution part. So it's available both in English and Hindi language. So if you go to the English language, I'll teach you the complete site execution part. Then we'll learn about advanced site engineer. Then we'll learn about quantity estimation, BOQ. Then we'll learn about bar bending schedule. We have certain estimation thumb rule like I mentioned. Then we have a drawing reading complete course. Then we have an interview mastery course. Then I have a course on this thing. What is that? MS project. We have a course on concrete technology. Then there's a course on project planning course, like I mentioned, to become a planning engineer. There are a course on the AutoCAD. There's a course on Revit. So all these are the courses what is available. Just in case if you're interested, you can think of enrolling in this course. This is a better courses that you're going to get. Otherwise, my same courses are available even on the Udemy platform. If you go and check on the Udemy, and if you just write 𝗥𝗂𝗃𝗵, these are the courses what I have. So either you can watch it direct, you can directly buy it from Udemy, or you can download my Civil Brains app. The same, the content remains the same. There's no change in the content. You can check out all the reviews also. Okay, so this will help you to understand and to upskill your knowledge, right? So do like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you back in the next video. Thank you.